Hello listeners and welcome to Team 1's recording of this week's West Lothian Boomerang, your talking newspaper. Our engineer tonight is Paul and the readers are myself, Wendy,
Steve,
Linda.
Before we start this week's recording, I have some information from the Boomerang Committee. Last week we distributed a questionnaire with your recording. If you've not already done so, can you please return this to us with your recording as soon as possible? Some of you will only receive your questionnaire for the first time this week. This is because your wallet was not back in time for us to send out to you last week. If this is the case for you, would you please complete it and return in your wallet? If you're unable to do this, perhaps someone can complete the questionnaire for you or let us know if we can help in any way. Boomerang is conducting the questionnaire to gain a better understanding of how relevant your weekly recordings are to you and if there's anything we can do to improve our service to you. Your answers will help us to develop our service, ensure our records are up to date and change our practice if necessary. If there are any questions you do not wish to answer, please feel free to leave these blank. We will gather this information from the 9th of May until the 30th of May, so please return your completed questionnaires as quickly as possible. Once we have gathered all this information, your responses will be shredded by the 30th of June 2025 and no paper copies will be retained. Now we will commence with the lead story, which is taken from the current issue of the West Lothian Courier dated the 15th of May, and the main headline tonight is Fire Crews Fight Huge Woodland Blaze, Praise for Teams Putting Lives and Safety at Risk, an article by Ross Thompson. Emergency services have been hailed for tackling the wildfire which took hold of an area near Falthouse over the weekend. Angela Constance, MSP, has expressed her heartfelt gratitude to the emergency services responding to the significant wildfire. I want to put on record my grateful thanks and appreciation to the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, SFRS, Police Scotland, Scottish Ambulance Service and Forestry and Land Scotland, Angela said. Due to the combined efforts of SFRS and partners, they have protected the public and property in what is a significant and prolonged incident affecting 100 hectares. On Wednesday morning, a Scottish Fire and Rescue Service spokesperson confirmed that 2 appliances remained at the scene. And the story continues. Wildfire exposes concern over cuts. Blaze drama sparks calls for change of direction. The wildfire that affected a huge part of forestry in West Lothian has exposed the folly of cuts to community fire and rescue services across Scotland, according to the union representing Scotland's firefighters. Over the weekend, 50 firefighters were called out to battle a blaze that affected 40,000 square metres of woodlands near Falthouse. Fire crews worked all weekend to try and contain the fire, with 9 fire appliances and a specialist helicopter deployed to drop water on the burning trees and moorland. At its peak, it was reported that the fire covered an area the equivalent to 5.5 football pitches. People living nearby were urged to keep their windows and doors closed due to the smoke. 4 days on from the start of the fire, appliances from Scottish Fire and Rescue remained at the scene. Colin Brown, Fire Brigade's Union Executive, Member for Scotland, said, Firefighters from across central Scotland have been in attendance at this major wildfire. They have worked in searing temperatures to try to control its spread and protect the public and nearby property. Their commitment and skill has ensured that the fire didn't spread and cause much further damage or loss of life. Sadly, events like this are likely to be more frequent in future as a result of global warming. If communities are to be protected, we need to reverse the cuts to the fire and rescue service that has resulted in 1,200 jobs lost over the last decade. And the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service and Scottish Government need to withdraw their proposals to close fire stations and cut yet more fire appliances from community fire stations. Representatives from the Fire Brigade's Union will be making these points very forcibly to the Minister for Victims and Community Safety, Siobhan Brown, when we meet her this week. Falthouse constituency MSP Angela Constance has expressed her heartfelt gratitude to the emergency services responding to the significant wildfire. She said, I want to put on record my grateful thanks and appreciation to the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service, Police Scotland, Scottish Ambulance Service and Forestry and Land Scotland. The current weather in Scotland means that the risks of wildfires are higher, and I must reinforce to the public who are enjoying the outdoors to follow the Scottish Outdoor Access Code and to avoid lighting open fires, especially when a wildfire danger assessment is in place. 9 appliances were dispatched to the blaze in a woodland area near Falthouse at about midday on Saturday, the Scottish Fire and Rescue Service SFRS said. Specialist appliances, including a helicopter, were sent to bring the fire under control. Around 50 firefighters battled to bring the wildfire under control, with a helicopter being used to drop water on the affected area. Those living nearby are urged to keep their windows and doors closed due to the smoke. The fire service had earlier warned of an extreme risk of wildfires due to the warm, dry weather. The Scottish Greens claimed the fire, as well as the extreme wildfire warning issued across the country, signals that Scotland is on the front line of the climate crisis. MSP Ariane Burgess said, "We aren't even in the height of our summer yet, and we're already seeing our woodlands burning and warnings in place across much of the country. We should all be grateful to the firefighters who are risking their lives and putting their safety on the line to protect us and our communities. It's not just the immediate threats they face, but also the lifelong increased health risks from exposure to smoke and toxic substances. We need to do everything we can to ensure that they are well supported and properly equipped for the growing threats that we face from increasing temperatures. Some of these fires have raged for days at a time and have done a huge amount of damage to local livelihoods and habitats."
This next article is Tragic Passing of Care for All GP and Nursing Home Founder, and it's an article by Michael Pringle. Before I start, I will apologise in advance for any mispronunciation in this article. Okay, Dr. Nawal Kishore Bagaria championed the care of elderly during his career. An unassuming West Lothian GP who created a successful group of nursing homes built on the ethos of care for all has died aged 82. Dr. Nawal Kishore Bagaria was born in Pashamba, Bihar, now part of Jharkhand, in rural North India, on February the 5th, 1943. He passed away on March the 30th this year in Kolkata, India. He lived and worked in Livingston and remained in West Lothian until just a few weeks before his death. He went on to completely remodel and reopen the former Elsie Ingalls Memorial Maternity Hospital in Abbey Hill, Edinburgh, as a private nursing home, which operated until 2011. Nawal Kishore Bagaria was born to Shyam Sundar and Radha Deva Bagaria, who began trading mica following its discovery in the coal mines in Bihar. He chose medicine as his path early on, and after concluding his schooling in college, he became one of the only second intake of Ranchi Medical School students. In 1968, his application to work in the United Kingdom was accepted, and with almost no funds, he initially based himself, following an initial stay at the Indian YMCA, in a guest house in Hampstead Heath in London. Choosing hospital appointments with associated lodgings, he worked throughout the UK in London's Dulwich Hospital, Brighton, Birmingham and Newcastle. Although life was difficult at first as an Indian qualified doctor, he soon became appreciated and respected, not only because he offered to work over Christmas and Easter breaks. Wishing to work within the community, he became a GP in West Lothian, a position he held for 15 years, and during which he became interested in elderly care. At his initial interview with the West Lothian Council, he was asked what guarantee there was that he would stay in Livingston. He responded by committing to raising his family there and to provide for the local community for the rest of his life. He worked there till 3 weeks before his passing. Dr. Bagaria's interest led him to also work in the elderly care units at Bangawa and St John's Hospital in Livingston, where he saw for himself the need for residential accommodation for those unable to go home, as hospital beds were blocked by those with nowhere to go. In 1988, Nawal and his wife, Dr. Sheila, approached the Livingston Development Corporation, LDC, for a site with the intention of providing quality care and accommodation for older people unable to live at home, no matter their background or income level. This started a commitment to providing care to all, something which never left him. Peacock Nursing Home was a result of the LDC support, originally 40, then 80 beds, followed by Woodlands Nursing Home, which also had 80 beds among the very first purpose-built accommodation in the Lothians. The Bugarias were able to add the former Elsie Ingalls Memorial Hospital to the group in the early 2000s, chosen in part because it was the first post as a doctor that Sheila took upon after their marriage in 1973 and subsequent move to Scotland. After Sheila's death, it was a comfort to Nawal that he and his daughter Ambika were able to completely refurbish and repurpose Elsie Ingalls in time for its centenary this July. Nawal continued to work full-time within care homes, ably supported by his daughters, and remained a major presence within the organisation until his recent death. He was involved with plans to provide further local authority-funded places when he became ill after attending a family wedding in India and died in Kolkata. Sheila preceded him, and he is survived by his daughters, Dr. Jayashree MBE and Ambika, a qualified chartered accountant who is the managing director of the care homes company. Nawal also has two grandsons, Taran and Kaylin, who love spending time with their Nanu. And there's a picture there of the doctor.
Rat sightings on rise as fly tipping soars, an article by Stuart Somerville. An increase in fly tipping at bin stores across West Lothian has caused concern about a boom in rat sightings, councillors have been told. Local area committees have heard that the bin stores have become a free-for-all, with rats seen around piles of black bags and furniture dumped. The council acknowledged there are issues and said that the problems were fuelled by a thoughtless minority. At Whitburn Local Area Committee, Councillor Mary Dixon said she had been receiving regular complaints about the number of black bags being dumped at bin stores and at flats, and many householders reported seeing rats. Some of the worst offending has been along Longridge Road, with bags of household rubbish dumped, also along the Clutrig Burn on the southern boundary of the town. She also highlighted fly-tip sites such as the Old Labour Club. Councillor Dixon said, "We need to look at how many bins there are at flats. A lot of the complaints I get are people talking about rats being in and out of the bins. I know a lot of people do recycle, but there are some who just don't care, and it's the rat issue that's causing the problem." Erwin Hopwood from Operational Services said, "The general public are getting fed up with fly tipping. That's why we're getting a lot more reports." Councillor Dixon said, "One of the reasons for the increase in fly tipping is that people cannot get access to recycling centres if they don't have access to a car." Across in East Livingston and East Calder, councillors have had similar complaints. Chair of that local area committee, Councillor Danny Logue, said this week, "There's a lot of people fly tipping near the new bin stores. There's a lot of rubbish. I've seen a sofa and a cooker and various bags of rubbish. It seems to be a free-for-all. Does that happen in other areas?" David Lees from Operational Services told the meeting, "Bin stores are a concern throughout West Lothian. Part of it is possibly due to bins being full or contaminated, and people in the properties are thinking they're doing the right thing, leaving bags next to bins." He added, "Waste teams have been looking at certain areas and working with housing staff, putting out letters to tenants, making them aware that they should not be leaving bags." A West Lothian Council spokesperson said, "We have issues with communal bin stores around West Lothian caused by the actions of a small, thoughtless minority. The majority of residents use the shared bins correctly, but when the minority choose to contaminate bins or leave bags or fly tipping in front of the bins and prevent access for our staff and vehicles, it causes issues for everyone. The property manager is then responsible for clearing any waste that prevents our staff from emptying the bins. We would encourage local residents to recycle and use communal bin stores responsibly so they do not become an issue for everyone else. Anyone who has evidence of those using bin stores for illegal fly tipping can report it to us via westlothian.gov.uk/fly tipping. The spokesperson added, rats are commonly found across the UK, including West Lothian, and can live in any environment that provides them with food, shelter and water. Making sure areas such as communal bins do not become overflowing can avoid providing rats with the kind of conditions that could help them become an established problem.
Shock over huge £38 million payments. An article by Michael Pringle. Compensation payments of over £38 million made in recent years by NHS Lothian have been described as eye-watering. Lothian Region MSP Sue Webber also labelled the amount paid out on 182 successful claims over the last 5 years as shocking. The MSP's remarks come after the Scottish Conservatives uncovered new figures showing health boards across Scotland have shelled out £227 million in compensation payments between 2019 and 20 and 2023-24. The Freedom of Information responses revealed that a total of £38,246,524 was paid out by NHS Lothian after 182 successful compensation claims were made during that time. However, NHS Lothian highlighted the figures are relative to it being the second largest health board in Scotland, adding that claims can roll over for a number of years from when they are first made. Conservative MSP Sue Webber laid the blame at the feet of the Scottish Government, saying the payments are the tragic yet predictable consequences of years of the SNP failing to resource frontline healthcare. She added that the significant payments will be taking further crucial resources away from cash-strapped NHS Lothian at a time when local healthcare services are counting every penny. These eye-watering compensation payouts for patients are the tragic yet predictable consequences of SNP mismanagement of services in NHS Lothian, she said. The level of payments in recent years within NHS Lothian are shocking. Dire workforce planning from successive SNP health secretaries has left dedicated staff completely overwhelmed and more at risk of making mistakes. That failure to invest in frontline care means patients are suffering because hard-working staff have been pushed beyond breaking point. These significant payments will also put NHS Lothian under even more strain at a time when they are already cash-strapped. These figures must be a wake-up call for John Swinney and the SNP to cut out the bureaucracy within the health service and ensure more money gets to the front line in NHS Lothian to avoid more patients making compensation claims. Edward Doyle, Deputy Medical Director at NHS Lothian, responded to the compensation claims. He said, "We work hard to ensure high-quality treatment for the nearly 900,000 strong population of NHS Lothian. In all cases where medical treatment does not meet our standards for patient care, we carry out a full review to ensure lessons are learned. In some cases, this results in compensation being awarded, and the figures show this has been the case for 182 cases over a period of 5 years. Cases involving compensation can roll over a number of years from when claims were first raised. These figures are relative to our position as the second largest health board in Scotland, our provision of national and regional services for other parts of the country, and the breadth and complexity of healthcare being provided by NHS Lothian." A Scottish Government spokesperson said, "The vast majority of patients receive excellent care and treatment from the NHS, but of course we apologise to anyone whose treatment has failed to reach the standards which we expect. Patient safety is paramount, and we are committed to ensuring all health and care is safe, effective and patient-centred. When things go wrong, we expect NHS boards to be open with patients about what happened and to learn lessons to prevent it happening again."
Now, this is a short and unattributed article about a very important event. It's the VE Day 80th anniversary, and it's subtitled "Sacrifice Won't Be Forgotten." Armed Forces charity ASA Scotland and Bathgate Community Council held a special event to mark the 80th anniversary of VE Day. Both organisations would like to thank Kirstin Sullivan, MP, local historian Meg Stenhouse, Bathgate Army Cadets and 1271 Bathgate Squadron, and of course the public for coming along to Bathgate's VE 80th celebration and commemoration on Thursday, May the 8th. Kirstin Sullivan, MP, said it was important to celebrate VE Day, but it was also a time to remember what that generation gave us. Thanks to ASA Scotland and Bathgate Community Council for arranging tonight's event. Chairman of Bathgate Community Council, Billy Weir, added, "It was a very poignant event. We must never forget Britain's bravest and the men and women from Bathgate who served. We must pass on the torches of remembrance." And this article is a sort of a double-page spread of photographs taken at the service in Bathgate shopping precinct, and there's the army cadets with their flags, and there's the air cadets as well with Battle of Britain flags and other flags. There's the MP with Piper and the historian giving speeches, and there's beautiful spring trees in the background, so all looks very nice.
MP welcomed on-site visit to Rosebank Wynd, an article by Ross Thompson. Persimmon Homes welcomed Livingston MP Gregor Poynton to its Rosebank Wynd development in West Lothian to update him on the site's progress and showcase the homes being delivered for local buyers. During the visit, Mr Poynton met with the Persimmon East Scotland team and heard how the development is delivering benefits across the community, including through employment and training opportunities for local people. They also discussed the wider opportunities and challenges facing the sector and the role the home builder can play in helping to reduce West Lothian's housing waiting list and tackling the national housing emergency through the delivery of much-needed new homes. Mr Poynton said it was great to visit the Rosebank Wynd development and see the progress being made to deliver high-quality, energy-efficient homes for local families in Livingston. Tackling the housing crisis is one of the most pressing challenges we face, both here in West Lothian and across Scotland. Developments like this not only help more people to access home ownership, but also create valuable job opportunities and strengthen our local communities. I look forward to continuing to work with partners to ensure we deliver the homes people in Livingston need. Neil Parry, Persimmon Homes East Scotland Managing Director, added, "We were pleased to welcome Gregor to Rosebank Wynd to show him the progress that's being made on site and highlight the positive impact the development is having in Livingston. With our homes priced around 20% below the market average, we're committed to helping local families onto the property ladder, while also delivering wider benefits for the whole community. Persimmon's Rosebank Wynd development will see a total of 140 energy-efficient new homes being built in Livingston, with 32 being transferred to a local housing association to help people in housing need. As part of the development, the home builder has invested more than £690,000 to support the local area, including funding for education, play areas and public artwork.
Panto Pals are bringing stage show to town, an article by Ross Thompson. Panto Pals Grado and Stephen Purden are teaming up to share stories from their careers on screen, stage and in the wrestling ring. Presented by Aberdeen-based promoters Breakneck Comedy, the 22-date tour sees them perform across the country and will at the Grand Central in Livingston on Tuesday, June the 3rd. While the duo is a well-known panto double act, appearing annually at the Pavilion Theatre Glasgow, Shell Suits and Spandex is the first time they've got together to share stories from their respective careers, as well as their work together as panto dafties and podcast hosts. Good friends on and off stage, audiences can expect them to serve up an evening of no-holds-barred anecdotes, banter and laughs. Breakneck Comedy's founder, Naz Hussain, is delighted to be able to welcome the duo to West Lothian. He said, "Anyone who's seen these guys in panto will know they have an amazing chemistry and a great sense of humour. And with major roles in two of Scotland's best-loved TV shows, amongst other things, they have loads of great stories to share with the public. I'm delighted that they've chosen to do their show with us, and I can't wait to hear the tales they'll be sharing. Breakneck Comedy is renowned for bringing top comedians and performers to towns and venues that might not be on the usual tour schedule. I love bringing big names to towns across the country that some promoters might overlook, said Naz. It's really exciting to be able to put on shows all over Scotland and make it easier for people to be able to enjoy a great night of comedy and entertainment without them having to worry about catching a train home from the city. More information on the Grado and Stephen Purden tour is available at the Breakneck Comedy website by logging on to www.breakneckcomedy.co.uk/.
Schools thanked for their patience as cyber attack probe continues. This is an article by Stuart Somerville. School staff and pupils have been thanked for their patience as an investigation into a suspected ransomware attack continues. West Lothian's Education Executive Councillor also paid tribute to council IT staff for their prompt response to the incident. A criminal investigation into a suspected ransomware attack on West Lothian schools is ongoing. The council was alerted to the cyber attack on Tuesday, May the 6th. Schools across the county were able to continue to operate after contingency plans were introduced. In an update this week, council bosses said they were unable to say when their computer network will be fully restored. In an email to parents, the local authority said contingency arrangements in schools are expected to continue until the summer break. The email said the education network has been isolated from the rest of the council's networks, with no evidence that the council's corporate and public access networks have been affected. There has been a significant amount of work undertaken by staff to ensure that disruption to education, including SQA exams, was minimal. Work is ongoing with external organisations and agencies continuing to investigate the full impact of the attack and restore systems. While good progress is being made, it is not possible to say when the education network will be restored at this time. We are also very grateful for the ongoing support we have received from various organisations and agencies during this challenging time, and are continuing to work with partners to reassure them that our corporate network is secure and unaffected by the attack. Schools across the county were unable to continue to operate after contingency plans were introduced. Councillor Andrew Maguire, who chairs the Education Executive, told the local Democracy Reporting Service, as we have seen from major high street retailers in recent weeks, cyber attacks are happening with increasing frequency and can cause havoc to organisations in a world now dominated by computers. Our dedicated IT staff are working tirelessly to resolve the issues and to get the education IT network back on track. I want to thank all the staff and students in schools for their patience over the last few days in what I'm sure is a very unsettling time, and would encourage everyone to remain vigilant about cyber attacks. A West Lothian Council spokesperson said, "We are continuing to work to mitigate the impact of a suspected criminal ransomware cyber attack on our education network. This remains a live criminal investigation, and we are working with all relevant external agencies, including Police Scotland and the Scottish Government. There is no evidence that the Council's corporate and public access networks are affected, or that any personal or sensitive data has been accessed. The education network remains isolated from the rest of the Council's network, while our IT service team and external organisations and agencies investigate the system and work to restore systems. We are very grateful for all the support we have received from various organisations and agencies during this challenging time. The Council's contingency plans are operating effectively to ensure that our schools continue to deliver education with minimal impact on pupils, including SQA exams. Ransomware is a type of malware which prevents someone from accessing a device and the data stored on it, usually by encrypting files. Criminal groups will demand a ransom in exchange for decryption. In recent weeks, both the Co-op and Marks and Spencer's have seen trade disrupted after hackers broke into their IT, causing shortages in stores and stalling online ordering. West Lothian has 13 secondary schools, 69 primary schools and 61 nurseries. And there's a picture there of Councillor Andrew Maguire.
Tributes to loved dad who lost his life in road crash tragedy, an article by Nicholas Malaysia. Tributes have been paid to a beloved dad who died in a crash with a taxi and a bicycle in West Lothian. Shabazz Sharif, affectionately known as Shaba, passed away following the collision on the A70 near Kirknewton at around 11:35 p.m. on Friday, 2nd of May. Emergency services were called near the junction for the B7031 following reports of a crash involving a blue Skoda Octavia car, a black Mercedes Vito taxi and a bicycle. Shaba, who was 46, who was driving the car, was sadly pronounced dead at the scene. The taxi driver was taken to hospital and later discharged, and the cyclist did not require medical treatment. Shaba, who was from Edinburgh, was a much-loved husband and father of 3. His heartbroken older sister, Breera Sharif Govinder, has now paid tribute. Speaking to Edinburgh Live, Breera said, "Thank you everyone for your patience as we waited for investigations to be complete. Shaba had love for all and never cared for material or social standing. It did not matter and does not matter." A celebration of life service will also be held at Balerno High School in the concourse on Sunday, May the 18th at 2 p.m. Following the incident, the road was closed for crash investigation work and reopened around 9 a.m. on Saturday, 3rd of May. Road policing officers appealed for information following the collision. Sergeant Grant Hasty said, "Our thoughts are with the family of the man who has died. Our inquiries are ongoing to establish the full circumstances, and we are asking anyone who saw what happened to get in touch. We are particularly keen to trace a second taxi driver who may have witnessed this crash. And anyone with relevant dashcam footage is also asked to contact police. If you can help, please call Police Scotland on 101, quoting incident number 4689 of Friday the 2nd of May.
8 nursery closures sparks blame game, an article by Stuart Somerville. A political row has erupted over the closure of 8 nurseries in West Lothian. The council's opposition SNP said the blame for the controversial decision lies squarely with the Labour-Tory administration. The group's comment came after the SNP government's education minister confirmed he would not use his powers to stop the closures. The Local Democracy Reporting Service revealed last week that Holyrood ministers effectively agreed with the Education Executive's decision to shut at the nurseries at the end of June. The council has capacity for 6,814 nursery children, but has over 2,000 more places available than is required to meet demand, nearly 30% more than is needed. In a response to the LDRS request for a comment on the government's decision, the SNP group said the blame for closure of these valued West Lothian nurseries lies squarely with the Labour-Tory administration of West Lothian Council. Failure to listen to parents about their needs resulted in poor planning for nursery provision in some of the most deprived areas of West Lothian. The group added SNP members of West Lothian Council Education Executive argued strongly against the closure of each of the nurseries in the meeting, and we continue to assert that the closures should be at least postponed so meaningful and fair consultation can take place about the future of nursery provision in West Lothian. The group added its support to comments from ministers about the way in which the Council's Education Department went about the consultation process. The West Lothian SNP group agrees with the Scottish Government's view that consulting on 9 nursery closures simultaneously, combined with errors in some of the relevant published documents, was detrimental to the engagement during the consultation process. The opposition group managed to stop the closure of 1 nursery on the hit list at the Education Executive Committee. Only Glenview Nursery School in Livingston garnered enough support on an opposition amendment to stay open by 1 vote. The decline in council-run nurseries is a direct result of changes to Scottish Government national policy made in 2019, where the Government introduced funding follows the child. This means that parental choices have changed, with many parents now choosing to use their funded nursery provision at private nursery providers and childminders in West Lothian. This has significantly reduced the demand for council-run nurseries. When the national policy was introduced, there were 7 private partner providers in West Lothian for 4,290 eligible children, and 88% of those came to council settings. There are now 32 private partner providers in the county for 4,084 eligible children, and 78% of those come to council settings. Responding to the initial press release, which suggested that 9 nurseries would close, Councillor Leader Lawrence Fitzpatrick said, "I think it says it all that the West Lothian SNP group tried to attack the administration over errors when they can't even get their facts correct in their own press release in terms of the numbers of nurseries affected." Last week, the government approved the closures of 8 nurseries and highlighted some areas for improvement for officers to take forward. However, let's not lose sight over the most important facts. Last week, the SNP Scottish Government did not call in the decision to close the nurseries and has effectively approved the closure of 8 nurseries in West Lothian. Why? Perhaps they recognise, like most people do, that the key reduction in council-run nurseries is a direct result of changes to the Scottish Government's own national policy made in 2019, where the government introduced funding follows the child. This has significantly reduced the demand for council-run nurseries, and this policy is now coming back to bite the SNP. The Labour Council leader added, "With our budgets being destroyed by the SNP at Holyrood, councils are rightly and legally expected to operate efficiently and manage local public finances, and the reality is that there is far more flexibility within nursery provision than there was before." As far back as 2016, council officers have advised the Scottish Government on more than one occasion that a model founded on unfettered choice would be likely to prove unsustainable and to the detriment of all eligible children and their parents' carers, especially with a declining national birth rate. Unfortunately, Scottish ministers have chosen not to act on these representations, with the consequence that there has been a major diversion of funds to the private sector, with the result that it is not possible to maintain the services offering maximum continuity and ease of transition into primary schools.
Cyclist killed in horrific crash with van named. This is an article by Gemma Ryder. A cyclist who died after being knocked down by a van on a road in West Lothian has been named as Daniel Corr from Livingston. Emergency services raced to the A70 near Harbour in West Calder after the alarm was raised at around 8:45 a.m. on Friday, May the 2nd. Officers from Police Scotland were responding to reports of a crash involving a white Vauxhall van and a cyclist. Ambulance crews attended, but the 65-year-old male cyclist was sadly pronounced dead at the scene. Police Scotland said inquiries remain ongoing following the fatal crash. The force previously said that they were searching for the driver of a silver or grey pickup truck to assist with their inquiries and appealed for the person to come forward. Sergeant Fraser Mitchell said earlier this week, "Our thoughts are with the family of the man who died. Our inquiries into the circumstances are ongoing. As our investigation progresses, it has now been established that a silver or grey pickup-style vehicle was in the area around the time of the crash. It is possible that the driver may have information that would assist our inquiry, and I would ask that they come forward. I am appealing for anyone who saw the crash who hasn't already spoken to officers to get in touch. I would also ask anyone who was in the area at the time and may have dashcam footage which could assist to contact us. If anyone has information regarding the collision, please contact Police Scotland via 101, quoting 0749 of 2nd of May 2025. And there's a photograph there of Mr. Corr.
Work hailed as Veterans Enjoy Awards event. An article by Rose Thompson. Bathgate-based veterans charity ASA Scotland attended the Scottish Veterans Award at Prestonfield House. The charity was a finalist in this year's awards. The Forces and Veterans charity is celebrating 10 years of voluntary work across Scotland. Charity Ambassador Major Donnie Harris said, "As a serving soldier, I am honoured to be supporting this fantastic charity. What they have achieved can be measured by their outcomes over the 10 years. It is phenomenal." Could I begin by congratulating our fantastic secretary, Tommy Davidson, who was recognised at the awards. He received the Bronze Award 2015 for Volunteer of the Year, and he was also a finalist in the Community Award. Tommy inspires us all and is the beating heart of the charity, a humble veteran who works day and night for the charity. Supporting veterans is important to the ASA Scotland. Over the years, they have raised vital funds for Combat Stress, Poppy Scotland, Soldiers Off the Street, while also donating to individual veterans. The charity have commissioned remembrance memorials across Scotland to those who served and paid the ultimate sacrifice. There are also memorials to those who served and have since passed. They have also organised many events that are inclusive to all. The educational work of the charity is brilliant, teaching the history and heritage of our armed forces that shaped our nation, whilst also teaching remembrance and what it means to us all and those who serve. The charity inspires young people in the classroom to achieve their dreams. We really need this now across the nation. Children now understand that freedom is not free. They now understand this from what has happened to Ukraine. As we come together as a nation, let us not forget the sacrifices made during World War II, on VE Day 80 or Victory Day. Remember those who made it home and those who sacrificed everything for us. Should that day come again, I will do my duty with my brothers and sisters.
And now we have the intimations, which this week are all deaths. Margot Caffrey, Bathgate, Longridge, suddenly but peacefully at home on Sunday the 4th of May 2025, aged 79 years. Much loved and sadly missed by all family and friends. Funeral arrangements are Wednesday the 21st of May at St John the Baptist Church, Faulthouse, 10 a.m. Mass service, thereafter to Glasgow Road Cemetery, Bathgate at 11:20 a.m. William Glenn Willie, 29th of August 1932 to 5th of May 2025. Peacefully at Holmesview Nursing Home, Broxburn on the 5th of May 2025, Willie, aged 92 years. Much loved husband of the late Betty, father, father-in-law, grandad and great-granddad to the family. Funeral service will be held at West Lothian Crematorium on Wednesday the 21st of May at 11 a.m, to which all are welcome. No flowers, please. Charles John Mallon, Charlie, peacefully at home on Wednesday the 23rd of April 2025. Charlie, aged 68 years. He'll be sadly missed by his 3 children and 4 grandchildren, of whom he was incredibly proud. A funeral service to which all are welcome will be held at West Lothian Crematorium on Monday the 19th of May at 1 p.m. Helen Mary MacDonald Webster, Elma, very peacefully at Middleton Hall Nursing Home on Tuesday the 6th of May 2025. Elma, aged 93 years, dearly loved daughter of the late Richard and Euphemia Webster, sadly missed. And now we will continue with the local news. Midwives on Shortlist for Excellence Award, an article by Michael Pringle. 2 inspiring West Lothian midwives have created pioneering theatre scrubs that allow immediate skin-to-skin contact for babies delivered by caesarean section. Midwife Stacey Boyle and Senior Charge Midwife Marianne Hay of St John's Hospital in Livingston have been named as finalists in the Royal College of Nursing RCN Scotland Awards. Judges singled out the NHS Lothian pair for their ingenuity in creating the efficient, cost-effective and sustainable cosy cuddle scrubs by Stacey TM. Marianne and Stacey have been named one of 3 finalists in the Inspiring Excellence Nursing Innovation and Research Award category. Since spring 2024, Inniscott Health worked closely with the 2 midwives to realise their ambitions of improving neonatal care and outcomes for families, and for the innovation to reach hospitals across the UK, possibly even globally. Alongside Accord NHS Lothian's research and development team, Inniscott Health helped protect and register the design. Cosy Cuddle Scrubs by Stacey TM are now well placed to become more widely available through manufacturing partners. Marianne and Stacey recognise that skin-to-skin contact helps newborns adjust to life outside the womb by keeping them warm while regulating heart rate and breathing, encouraging babies to look for breasts to start feeding, and assisting with immediate bonding and emotional connection. With the surgical team focusing on the mum and the completion of the C-section, birthing partners often step in to provide that much-needed contact. But with the newborn placed on their chest and covered with blankets or towels, that does not always effectively sustain or assist in keeping babies warm, meaning they can be at risk of having to be admitted to special care. Marianne and Stacey came up with the idea of specially adapted, cost-effective scrubs for partners, with an accessible covering allowing vital skin-to-skin to take place as soon as the baby is born. With upcycled NHS fleeces used as the cosy material and a secure Velcro opening, newborns can nestle inside the scrubs and reap all the benefits of life-changing skin-to-skin with fathers, birthing partners, until the individual who's given birth is able to. Gregor Poynton, MP for Livingston, wrote to congratulate the two midwives. He said, "It is an incredible achievement to be recognised in this way, and you should be very proud of yourself, as I know your friends, family and colleagues will be. The work you do as a midwife is incredibly important, and to have developed a technique that can be vital in helping a baby immediately is truly fantastic. I wish you all the very best for the awards. Keep up the amazing work." Regulatory Project Manager at Inniscott Health, Paula Sweeten, said, "I know just how delighted Marianne and Stacey are to have been named award finalists, so further acknowledgement from their MP only adds to their sense of achievement. The support for them and their ambitions after so much hard work has been incredible." The award category winners will be named at a special ceremony taking place at the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh on June the 12th, while the highly coveted overall RCN Scotland Nurse of the Year 2025 will be selected from the registered nurse winners across the eligible categories.
Local hero Jodie given recognition. This is an article by Ross Thompson. Local superstar Jodie McNeil has been awarded a well-deserved volunteer award and a £100 gift card by the Centre Livingston in recognition of her outstanding work in the community. The aim of the award, which has been running for many years, is to reward and recognise the fantastic work carried out by people in West Lothian who give up their time to help others and pay tribute to them with a personalised framed certificate and gift card to treat themselves. Jodie is a counsellor at SMILE Counselling at Livingston. Smile was the shopping centre's first charity partner of the year. It was founded 10 years ago by Declan Harrigan to promote and support the mental health and well-being of young people aged 11 to 24 in West Lothian by providing free and affordable counselling, ensuring young people can access the right support at the right time. The services provided include face-to-face sessions to help with mental health challenges, including anxiety, trauma and stress, and also group sessions to promote mental health awareness and resilience in young people and their families. The charity also partners with schools to provide on-site counselling, workshops and mental health education. Jodie, who has been volunteering with the charity for almost 2 years, works with children and young people to support them through the many challenges they are facing with their mental health and well-being. Her role includes providing one-to-one support, delivering group work, helping out at events and taking part in wider community engagement initiatives. Kerry Hutchison, schools counsellor team leader at Smile Counselling, who nominated Jodie, said, "Jodie's natural ability to connect, listen and respond to young people with empathy makes her a vital part of our team. From one-to-one support to leading group sessions and representing Smile and community events, Jodie goes above and beyond, which is why I wanted to nominate her for this amazing award. She truly embodies our values and continues to have a lasting impact on both the young people and the wider community." Jodie said, "Volunteering at Smile Counselling with a team that's so passionate and dedicated to helping young people has been one of the most rewarding parts of my life. The role offers me the chance to volunteer in lots of different ways. No 2 days are ever the same. And that variety is a big part of what makes this experience so meaningful and rewarding. What I really love most about it is being able to make a genuine difference to a young person's life, seeing the positive changes, no matter how small, and knowing you've helped someone feel heard and supported is an incredible feeling. There's a sense of community in the work we do, and I'm constantly inspired by the resilience and strength of the young people I meet. Some of the highlights for me include those special moments when a young person reaches a breakthrough, or when they come back and tell you how much the support has meant to them. Tess Sundberg, marketing manager at the Centre Livingston, said, "It was such an honour to be able to present our volunteer award and gift card to Jodie in recognition of the incredible work she has been doing to help young people in the community and hear more about the valuable service and support the charity provides." If you know someone who is also going the extra mile and making a big difference helping people in West Lothian, please contact us so that we shine a bright light on them and reward them for all their efforts. To mark the charity's 10th anniversary this year, Smile Counselling has launched a new fundraising campaign, Your £10 There Tomorrow, to encourage people to donate £10 a month to help safeguard a vital mental health service for children and young people for the next 10 years and beyond. For more information about the services and support and the latest fundraising campaign, check out their website www.smilecounselling.org.uk. And there's a photograph there of Jodie receiving her certificate and gift card at the centre in Livingston.
Company prepares for the future, an article by Ross Thompson. John Heaney Electrical Limited, JHE, the Livingston-based electrical and mechanical company, has strengthened its senior management team as it prepares for its next stage of growth. John Cowan steps up from Facilities Management Operations Manager to Facilities Management Operations Director, while Derek Menzies is promoted from Contracts Manager to Contracts Director. The duo join Managing Director Mark Heaney on the board alongside Steve Rodman and Jerry McGovern. The family-run engineering firm specialises in all types of industrial and commercial mechanical and electrical installations and serves a client base throughout Scotland and the north of England from its West Lothian headquarters, including the likes of CBRE, Mighty, ISS Facilities Services UK and Integral. Welcoming the appointments, Mr Heaney said, "This is key to sustaining our growth and identifying the next steps forward. We recognise that our business and success is built upon long-lasting relationships of respect and trust. We have forged a strong reputation over the years and want to keep building on that. Bringing John and Derek into these positions provides us with the ideal foundation to do that. Where possible, we have promoted from within, and it has worked well for us. I'm confident that will again be the case, as we are fortunate to be able to call on people of their experience. Our investment in our staff allows us to continually grow in stature. I am genuinely excited by what the future holds with the new structure in place. The pair of them have worked with much bigger organisations, but it's pleasing they recognise the opportunity here and what might lie ahead." Both new directors began their careers with JHE. John spent 5 years with the firm after joining in 1990 for his first permanent job on completion of his apprenticeship, returning in 2021. He said, "I want to help move the business forward and further develop it, as I believe there is strong potential for significant growth. Key will be continuing the customer service, maintaining the client relationships we have, and building new ones. We get a lot of repeat business, so must be doing something right. I've always had a strong affinity with John Heaney Electrical. They provide very good service, and I really like their values of integrity and honesty. We have a number of staff who have been here for a long time, and that's because it's a good company to work for. The saying, 'We're big enough to cope, small enough to care,' sums us up." Derek spent 11 years with JHE after starting out as an apprentice in 1994 before joining Balfour Kilpatrick in 2005. and he returned at the start of 2021. He said, "It was hard to turn down the approach to come back. It's an exciting time to be in this position whereby we can help steer the future direction of the business. John and I are both keen on modernising and updating the processes where possible as we strive to become the contractor of choice." And for our next article, I'm pleased to hand over to my 12-year-old son, Alistair, who's with me tonight.
Kids Game for a Laugh at Competition. A West Lothian primary school pupil has turned a good gag into a golden ticket for Holyrood after being named a finalist in a national joke-telling competition. John McGlynn, a primary 3 pupil at St John Ogilvie RC Primary School, has been crowned the winner of West Lothian's regional heat in the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists, RCSLT. Voicebox Competition, a national joke-telling contest celebrating the power of communication. John now heads to the grand final at the Scottish Parliament on June 5th, where 32 of Scotland's funniest primary school pupils, one from each local authority, will compete for the title of Voicebox Champion 2025. John's joke, which earned a place in the final, was, "Why does Scottish Mickey Mouse not go on his airplane anymore?" Because at Disneyland. The event will be hosted by Right Honourable Alison Johnson, MSP, Presiding Officer, Scottish Parliament, with Zara Chandra, BBC journalist and stand-up comedian, taking the mic as compare. John has already secured £100 worth of Collins Big Cat books for their school and is in the running for other prizes, including £500 of books for the winning school, £200 of books for the second and third place, plus a £100 toy gift card for the top 3 finalists. Glenn Carter, head of RCSLT Scotland, said, We're incredibly proud of all the regional winners who have earned a place in the national final. It's about highlighting the vital role that communication plays in every part of a child's life. Speech, language and communication skills are the foundation for learning, social connection, mental well-being and future employment. Competitions like Voicebox show just how powerful a child's voice can be when given a platform, and why it's important that we continue to invest in speech and language therapy to support children's communication.
Willow Structure is latest addition to ex-mining village, an article by Ross Thompson. Residents of Scotland's fastest growing town are celebrating the latest addition to their community, a cathedral made entirely from willow. The domed structure, made from 1,000 strips of willow built around a 40-foot birch tree, is the new centrepiece of Old Cathy District Park, the 85-acre green space formed from the reclamation of a landfill site in the former mining village of Winchborough. Designed by Deeside Willow in conjunction with local residents, the cathedral, already dubbed Old Cathedral after the name of the park, was built over 2 days by 50 volunteers and is already becoming a popular spot for community events or residents looking for a quiet place to relax and enjoy nature. John West, 44, the co-founder of the Winchborough Community Growing Group, who helped coordinate the build, said the team faced several big challenges in building the cathedral, which was constructed using 20-feet strips of willow and includes 300 harlequin plants and a seating area around the birch tree. It's totally bespoke and a unique design, and the biggest structure Deeside Willow has ever built, said John. We sketched a design featuring 14 pillars of willow, which connect 2 central rings, and it was tricky because we had to incorporate the birch tree into the design. The team also had to ensure it could survive the sometimes severe Scottish winds. John says the new structure inspired by a similar building in New York City, has already become a focal point for visitors to the award-winning park, which now extends to 85 acres. Winchborough Developments Limited, the company behind the master plan for the town, was winner at the UK Brownfield Awards for its work on the park as part of a £6 million regeneration project. John said this used to be just a barren piece of muddy ground, but now it's been transformed and this year it's really taking shape. You see people coming into the park, playing in the park, and then coming purposely into the garden just to have a seat in the cathedral and admire it. It's well used, it's attracting people, it's the biggest feature in the whole park. The building will have a practical purpose too, as a place for the people of the community to come together. A vegetable patch has been created round the nearby pond, and classes and workshops will be held in the building. Deeside Willow, who directed the build, has already held a number of willow workshops for local residents, and some have acquired willow kits so they can try out the technique at home. Nick Millett, who runs Deeside Willow with his wife Katie, said the cathedral was an unusual and challenging project. He said, "It's the first willow cathedral we've built and the biggest project we've ever undertaken, and I haven't seen anything in Scotland like the size of the structure in Winchborough. Obviously, we needed to make sure we were anchoring in the main pillars of the structure because of the wind. It was really important that we got it deep enough to stand up to the wind. We feel privileged to have the opportunity to work with the Winchborough Growing Group." And there are some lovely pictures of this amazing willow dome structure, and also with some of the local residents enjoying this beautiful environment.
Options on the table for centres. This is an article by Stuart Somerville. The bulk of West Lothian's community centres could end up being run directly by the council. The new option was tabled after councillors heard that only around half of the £1 million needed savings have been identified through communities taking ownership of centres or signing new leases. It has raised concern that council control could see reduced opening and higher costs for community groups to use facilities. One centre management team member said increased costs would hit families already struggling to get by. The SNP branded the council control option as haphazard and improvised. Council officers said the new option was a result of ongoing engagement with all community centre management committees. One management committee member told the Local Democracy Reporting Service, "Our community has many residents who are already struggled to get by. The community centre activities in the past have asked a minimum donation to take part. For example, £1 to attend a disco. If we raised these fees, the kids would not be able to attend. If you have 5 kids asking, for example, £5 each, this would be £25 out of a family budget. The community centre was always seen as for the community." In the report to the Corporate Policy and Resources PDSP, Julie Whitelaw, the head of Housing, Customer and Building Services, said that the council management option could apply to 26 out of 31 centres. Updated proposals would deliver savings of £576,482, leaving a shortfall of £496,518 against the saving target of £1.073 million. Mrs. Whitelaw said, "Under this model, the council would operate the facilities and representatives of user groups would be invited to attend regular building user groups to aid in the development of activities which would meet the needs of the local community. In order for the council to meet such a cost, there would be requirements to reduce operating costs through rationalising staffing resources and energy usage, considering the occupancy and use of the buildings and increasing income from the lets. Council management is the fourth option for centres and would see the council full taking control of running the premises, setting opening hours, staffing and charges. The initial 3 options on the table are community asset transfer, where the communities assume full ownership of the building, full repair and insurance lease of the building and recharge of costs, where the management committee leases the building and pays council to maintain it, Councillor Janet Campbell, the SNP group leader, told the meeting that the fourth option had been dropped, and the mix in the last week and was haphazard and apparently improvised. Councillor Susan Mannion, the deputy council leader, said there had been an ongoing narrative on social media and promoted by some councillors that the council plan was to close community centres. She added, there has been an active narrative out there to discourage management committees to get involved because the council just intends to close centres. That seems to come from some councillors who should know better as well. That has not helped at all in what we are trying to do to help community centres move forward positively with the recognition that they need to be financially viable. The narrative has really hindered the process. What this update shows is our determination to continue to support the community centres that we have and using all the options available to support community centres thrive. Simon Henderson, the third sector rep with the voluntary sector gateway, told the meeting the VSG recognises the hard work that council officers and volunteer management committees have put into this consultation and the engagement there has been.
Race for Life 2025. MP Sullivan sounds horn to start race. An article by Ross Thompson. People of all ages united against cancer by taking part in Scotland's first 2025 Race for Life events. Kirstine Sullivan, MP for Bathgate and Linlithgow, was chosen to sound the horn at the start line to send hundreds off on the 3K, 5K and 10K courses in the picturesque grounds of Hopetoun House, South Queensferry. More than £108,000 was raised for Cancer Research UK, vital funds which will help enable scientists to find new ways to prevent, diagnose and treat cancer, to bring about a world where everybody lives longer, better lives, free from the fear of cancer. And 30 miles away in the University of Stirling grounds near Ganachey Sports Centre, £95,000 was raised on Sunday at Race for Life Stirling. Kirstine said, "It's a privilege to support Race for Life in honour of everyone going through cancer right now. Almost every family, including my own, has been affected by cancer. The outlook for people with cancer has changed dramatically over the years thanks to the efforts of Cancer Research UK and wonderful fundraisers making sure the best research is available to help get the best outcomes. Thankfully, there are many more effective treatments out there today, making it possible for people to live well with cancer for many years. But it's important we continue to make progress and to ensure the research is there to support that." The rock choir from Livingston, Linlithgow and Edinburgh also performed hits, including Green Green Grass by George Ezra and Club Tropicana by Wham. Brothers 8-year-old Quinn Duffy and Leo Duffy, 10, who are both members of the Linlithgow Athletics Club, were first home in the 3K, completing the course in 12 minutes 40 seconds. And 13-year-old Orla Oakley of Livingston Athletics Club was first home in the 5K in 23 minutes 22 seconds, raising £230 for Cancer Research UK, helped by her twin sister Isla Oakley, her brother Rory Oakley, 10, and her mum Catherine Oakley. The family took part in honour of an uncle who currently has cancer. Lisa Adams, Cancer Research UK's spokesperson in Scotland, said, "We're incredibly grateful to everyone who took part in Race for Life. No matter how cancer affects us, life is worth racing for." Sadly, nearly 1 in 2 of us will get cancer in our lifetime, but all of us can support the research that will beat it. We're proud that Race for Life has had such a positive impact. Every pound raised supports our life-saving work, which has helped double cancer survival in the UK over the last 50 years. It was a fantastic day at Race for Life, full of emotion, courage, tears, laughter and hope as people celebrated the lives of those dear to them who have survived cancer and remembered loved ones lost to the disease. Now we're asking everyone who took part to return the money they've raised as soon as possible. Every donation, every pound raised will make a real difference. There are lots of lovely photos of the fantastic runners and many showing off well-earned medals.
Students fear for future as Arts College closes and liquidators are appointed. An article by Lee Dalgetty. A West Lothian Arts College has closed with immediate effect as students complain of being left in the dark. The Scottish Institute of Theatre, Dance, Film and Television has announced the facility has gone into liquidation. Many who attend the college, including those in their final year, have been left unsure whether they will be receiving their degrees. The Centre on Ammonville Way in Livingston provides degrees in theatre, dance, acting and performing for students. It opened back in 2005. A post on the college Facebook page reads, "By the order of the Sheriff of Lothian and Borders at Livingston Sheriff Court, Katie McLaughlin of Middlebrooks Business Recovery and Advice Limited has been appointed as interim liquidator of the Scottish Institute of Theatre, Dance, Film and TV Limited with effect from May the 6th, 2025. The company has ceased trading with immediate effect." Rachel Fiona Gilchrist, 21, handed in her final dissertation for her acting course on Thursday, only to be told that the college was shutting down operations. She branded the news really upsetting and is still unclear on whether or not she will get her degree. David Adams, whose daughter Callie was in her first year at the facility, said parents have been left clueless. The facility shared the update on their social media pages, which is understood to be how many students and teachers were informed. Rachel, who's originally from Ayr but moved to Livingston to study, told Edinburgh Live, "I was quite lucky that I was in the building at the time. However, everyone else found out via social media. That's including the staff. They were in the same boat. I think it's disgusting. They found out that the job they'd been at for 10, 15 years was done over Facebook. We were meant to graduate this year. We've had absolutely no communication with the liquidators. Our last dissertation hand-in was technically this morning. Since I was set to graduate, I've had it in my head that this was my last year. I'm lucky that I've got my agent to help me get work and stuff. For younger students, it's such a shame because they weren't far in and it's almost too late to apply for other colleges." While Rachel has been gutted by the news, she said her time at the college was amazing and has enjoyed every minute since she started 3 years ago. She added, "I don't have a bad word to say up until this point about the college. The training I've received has been amazing. They had people who had been working in the industry and everyone was so close, from the admin staff to the lecturers and everyone. They all helped us in so many ways. That's why it's so upsetting. The thing on the whole is so sad because it was such a lovely place for people. I've put almost £30,000 into this degree. We're all in debt. I did raise that this could be hard for everyone's mental health and asked if there was any help in place, but was told that there was plenty of services available online."
Livingston vaccine producer gets visit from Health Minister. This is an article by Ross Thompson. Scotland's largest vaccine producer, Valneva Scotland Limited, recently welcomed Scottish Health Secretary Neil Gray for a tour of its state-of-the-art manufacturing facility at Livingston. Valneva is a specialty vaccine company that develops, manufactures and commercialises prophylactic vaccines for infectious diseases with unmet medical needs. Most recently, Valneva was awarded Best Biotech of 2025 at the 16th Annual Vaccine Industry Excellence Awards in Washington, D.C. During the visit, Neil met with some of Valneva's Scotland's leadership team and wider employees at its Manufacturing Centre of Excellence in West Lothian. The tour covered various aspects of the operational life cycle, from the quality control sample lab in the Manson building to the cleanroom manufacturing area in the new Almeida facility, which boasts some of the highest specification lab space in the UK. Mr. Gray said, "I was pleased to see the continued success of Valneva in Scotland and its valuable contribution to improving health and the economy. Vaccine development for infectious diseases can help keep people safe at home and abroad. And I congratulate Valneva on their pioneering and ongoing research in this field." Life sciences is a key sector of our economy, recognised internationally for its distinctive business and research institutions, as well as protecting people from infectious diseases. Research has potential to support high-value jobs. Greg Rooney, Managing Director, added, "It was a pleasure to welcome Neil to our manufacturing facility and showcase the integrity of our talented workforce and the sustainable practices we deliver every day. The UK continues to be a global leader in the life sciences investment thanks to its thriving manufacturing sector. We are proud to play our part in that success. To realise the ambition of the UK's life sciences vision, we must continue to build momentum and strengthen domestic biotech manufacturing capacity. At Valneva, we remain committed to working closely with the Office for Life Sciences, the UK government and devolved administrations to improve public health outcomes and support the UK's world-class research and development system." And there's a photograph of the health minister there with the managing director.
MP welcomes landmark trade deal, an article by Ross Thompson. Livingston MP Gregor Poynton has welcomed the conclusion of the UK-India Free Trade Agreement as a landmark deal for Scotland and a significant boost for his own constituency. Mr Poynton used an exchange in the House of Commons to press Trade Minister Douglas Alexander on the benefits for local businesses, highlighting Glenmorangie whisky, Patterson's shortbread and the area's growing digital services sector as key beneficiaries of the deal. "This is a major win for Scotland's economy and for the people of Livingston," Mr Poynton said. "We bottle world-class whisky and bake iconic Scottish shortbread right here, and our digital SMEs are expanding every year. This deal supports them all." Under the terms of the agreement, tariffs on Scotch whisky exports to India, one of the world's largest whisky markets, will fall from 150% to 75% immediately and drop to 40% over the next decade. Tariffs on chocolate, biscuits and shortbread will fall from 33% to 0% over a period of up to 10 years, depending on product lines. Meanwhile, soft drink tariffs, including for iconic Scottish brands like Iron Brew, will be eliminated within 7 years. The deal also includes measures to streamline customs processes and promote digital trade, offering additional support to Scotland's growing tech and services sectors. Responding to Mr Poynton in the Commons, Trade Minister Douglas Alexander MP said, "If you look at the cut we've secured for whisky tariffs in the huge Indian market, it's a clear and tangible example of the difference a Labour government is making." According to UK government estimates, the deal is expected to increase bilateral trade with India by £26 billion, boost UK GDP by £4.8 billion and raise UK wages by £2 billion a year in the long run. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said the deal would boost the economy and deliver for British people and business.
Check please as Hartson Day nets thousands. The 6th annual John Hartson Charity Golf Day, held at Bathgate Golf Club, raised an impressive £13,500 for the John Hartson Foundation, taking the total donation to over £120,000 to date. The event was coordinated by Walker Group's contract manager Jim Murphy, his wife Angela and daughter Amy Jane, with invaluable help from the Seafield Sportsman Charity volunteers. It continues to be a major fundraiser for the foundation, set up by the former Celtic striker, inspired by his own battle against testicular cancer. The charity is committed to raising awareness of early symptoms, supporting those who are affected by the disease and their families with counselling and assisting in the provision of medical facilities. Jim Murphy said, "I'm thrilled that we've raised such a fantastic sum for the John Hartson Foundation. The charity is on hand to support people affected by the disease and campaigns to raise awareness of testicular cancer as well as other types of cancer. Their work makes a huge difference to people who need it most. I'm especially thankful to the Springfield Group, including Walker and Dawn Homes, for their continued support, and to the many local businesses who generously donate raffle prizes year after year. And there's a lovely picture of all the participants from the golf day holding the huge cheque for £13,500.
Lions sting Jags to take initiative. This is an article by Ian Stephen, who was at Firhill watching the game between Partick Thistle and Livingston. Well, the result was 2-0 Livingston. Livingston set themselves up for a superb chance at reaching the Premiership playoff final after a convincing 2-0 first leg win over Partick Thistle at Firhill on Tuesday night. The Lions secured in either half thanks to strikes from club stalwart Scott Pittman and local hero Danny Wilson, putting themselves in pole position to face the bottom side in the top flight for a shot at an immediate return to the Premiership. With such a commanding lead heading into Friday's second leg, Martindale was adamant that there would be no signs of complacency in his squad, with the job only half completed. I generally don't think it's done, Martindale stated. I think most folk thought Partick were going down to Ayr United, and it was kind of like a shoe-in. They get an early goal and then they go and win the game. So I'll not be taking them lightly. I never took them lightly tonight, but we've kind of got to use their schedule against them slightly, and we've had a wee bit of a break. Complacency? No. I'm generally not worried about that. Nope, I'll not let it happen. My staff will not let it happen. I don't think the players will let it happen. So now I've got a really, really good experienced group. I've got good energy. I've got young players in there, but I've also got that experience in there in terms of boys that played at the top level. So no, it's not really a concern if I'm honest, but I'll be making sure we're bang at it. The hosts looked jaded after a frantic double-leg playoff with Ayr United, while a week's rest benefited David Martindale's men, who took the lead in the tie just before half-time as a superb pass from Chris Montano released Robbie Fraser down the left flank. The fullback strode into the box before picking out Scott Pittman for the simplest of finishes. The Almond Vale outfit doubled their lead straight after the restart as Ryan McGowan nodded a Kelly free kick to Danny Wilson, who cannoned his effort off the bottom of the bar before the ball rested over the goal line. And Martindale is looking forward to getting them back to home turf in the return leg on Friday night. He added, "I'm delighted with the result. I think we've played better, if I'm honest, but delighted with the result. The clean sheets, 2 goals, and back to ours. It's only half-time, but I feel for Brian Graham and Mark Wilson, the Jags coaches, because they've done that alone. It's been a fantastic run for them. The more influential players are getting injured, which is difficult for them. But it's a good result. I thought the park was better tonight. It was better than it was the last time we were here, but it's still a wee bit fiery, still a wee bit bumpy. I'll get slaughtered for this, but it's good to get back to AstroTurf. I got slaughtered at the start of the year, and I was very vocal on this. I think we had one of the best squads in the league. In terms of numbers, I think most clubs had 13 to 14. It was strong, but I feel I recruited really, really well in the summer, and I've got a really strong, probable 20 plus. And there's some pictures here of the goal scorers, Scott Pittman and Danny Wilson, and a picture of David Martindale clapping his hands at full time. And it's Friday night, and I can tell you that it's half time at the moment in the return leg, and Livingston are currently leading 1-0. So there we go.
And that brings us to the end of our recording of the latest edition of the West Lothian Courier. Can I please remind everyone to return your memory sticks by popping them into the envelope, and please do remember to change the address label on the return envelope. And again, a wee reminder to return your completed questionnaires if you haven't already done so. So that's all from Team 1 until we read again in 6 weeks. So it's goodbye from Wendy.
Goodbye from Steve.
Goodbye from Linda.
Goodbye from Alistair.